What if I told you there's something way more valuable?
Then, like, a mountain of rupees.
Yeah. More precious than any treasure you could even dream of finding.
Wow.
You've been digging into Proverbs, right?
Right.
Chapters 8 and 9 specifically.
Uh-huh.
They kind of point us towards this incredible treasure, wisdom.
And they don't just, like, tell us about it.
Yeah.
They bring it to life.
Oh, interesting.
It's almost as if wisdom is like a character
Oh, okay.
in a story,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
A voice calling out, inviting us all to discover its secrets.
That's exactly what I'm excited to unpack today
Yeah.
in this deep dive.
Okay.
Not just what these verses say,
Right.
but what they mean for us,
Totally.
today, right now.
It's a fascinating approach, isn't it?
It is.
It's not like wisdom is tucked away in some hidden scroll or something.
Yeah.
It's like it's seeking us out.
Proverbs 8 starts with wisdom practically shouting.
Oh, yeah.
It's not hiding.
Nope.
It's making itself known.
Good.
It's like it's saying, here I am, come find me.
Yeah, it really flips the script on that classic image we have
Right.
of like the wise old sage meditating on a mountaintop.
Yeah.
Wisdom isn't something we have to chase down.
Right.
It's readily available
Totally.
to anyone who's willing to just listen.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
this isn't just some feel-good idea.
Right.
Proverbs 8.01 tells us straight up, wisdom is more valuable
More valuable
than rubies.
Oh, wow.
Not just like a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
but more valuable than any material possession you
So-
could possibly imagine.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
In our world,
Yeah.
we're just bombarded with ads, messages telling us to buy this and upgrade that.
Yeah.
Proverbs just stops us in our tracks
Mm-hmm.
and says, wait a minute,
Yeah.
are those things really what matter most?
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does.
In a world that's obsessed
Yeah.
with the latest gadgets, the latest trends,
Uh-huh.
what if true fulfillment lies in something deeper,
Okay.
something more enduring?
It makes you think about
Yeah.
the things we chase after.
Yeah.
That promotion, that bigger house,
Right.
that perfect Instagram life.
Yeah.
Are those things
Yeah.
really going to bring us
Yeah.
lasting happiness?
Right.
Or is there something more?
Yeah.
Something that wisdom can offer
Uh-huh.
that goes way beyond material possessions?
It's like Proverbs is throwing down a challenge
Yeah.
in a world obsessed with the latest gadgets and fleeting trends.
Yeah.
What if true fulfillment lies in something
Yeah.
deeper, more enduring?
It makes you think about the things
Mm-hmm.
we chase after.
Right.
That promotion, the bigger house,
Yeah.
the perfect Instagram life.
Yeah.
Are those things really going to bring us lasting happiness?
Exactly.
Or is there something more?
Yeah.
Something that wisdom can offer that goes beyond those possessions?
Now, things get really interesting here when
Hey.
Proverbs links this wisdom to something that might sound a little intimidating at first.
Okay.
The fear of the Lord.
Right.
Proverbs 8.13 tells us
Uh-huh.
that fearing the Lord
Yeah, okay.
is the foundation for hating evil.
Yeah, and it's important to understand
Yeah.
what fear means
Okay.
in this context.
Yeah.
It's not about being terrified.
Right.
It's about having a deep reverence
Okay.
and respect for God,
Okay.
a recognition of his power
Uh-huh.
and authority.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
about understanding
Okay.
that our choices have consequences.
Right.
And that there is an ultimate standard
Okay.
of right and wrong.
So it's not about cowering in fear,
No.
but about aligning ourselves
Yeah.
with a moral compass
Right.
that comes from something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when we have that deep respect,
Yeah.
it naturally leads us to reject evil.
Okay.
We can see how destructive it is
Right.
to go against his will, and we choose a different path.
That makes a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
how does this help us
Right.
navigate tough ethical choices
Yeah.
in a world full of gray areas?
You're absolutely right.
It's not always easy to know
Yeah.
what's right or wrong these days.
The world is full of nuances
Yeah.
and complexities.
Exactly.
But having this foundation of fearing God,
Right.
this understanding that there's a higher authority,
Yeah.
can give us a framework for making those tough decisions.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
It's about asking ourselves,
Yeah.
what would someone who deeply respects God
Right?
do in this situation?
Exactly.
It helps us to move beyond our own limited perspective
Right.
and seek wisdom that transcends the situation.
It does.
That's a really helpful way to look at it.
Yeah.
So we've got this incredibly valuable wisdom,
Yes.
and it's available to everyone.
To everyone.
And it starts with having a deep reverence for God.
Right.
But how do we actually find this wisdom?
Good question.
Is it just about,
Yeah.
Reading the Bible.
Well, reading the Bible is certainly a great place to start.
Okay.
But Proverbs tells us we need to actively seek wisdom.
Right.
Proverbs 8.1 says,
Okay.
I love those who love me,
Mm-hmm.
and those who seek me diligently find me.
Okay.
It's like a promise
Okay.
that wisdom is attainable.
I like that.
If we put in the effort,
Yeah.
we will find it.
I love that. It's like
Yeah.
wisdom is this incredible treasure
Right.
hidden in plain sight,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to be intentional
Yeah.
about looking for it,
Yes,
about digging deeper.
absolutely.
And you know what else I find interesting in that verse?
What's that?
The phrase, seek me early.
Absolutely.
It suggests that while it's never too late to start,
Right.
there's a real advantage to starting early.
Yeah, it's like planting a seed.
Oh, yeah.
The sooner you plant it, the more
Yeah.
time it has to grow and flourish.
So if you're listening to this
Right.
and you're thinking,
Yeah.
okay, I want this wisdom.
Right.
I want to build my life on something
Yeah.
solid and lasting.
Yeah.
What are some practical ways we can seek wisdom?
Golf.
That's a great question. In our daily lives.
There are so many ways, reading books and articles,
Okay.
listening to podcasts
Like this one.
like this one,
Right.
engaging in thoughtful conversations,
Yes.
observing the world around us,
Okay.
even just taking time for quiet reflection. These are all ways to cultivate wisdom.
It's about being curious,
Yes.
asking questions,
Yeah, absolutely.
and not being afraid to challenge our own assumptions.
That's right. It's about being open to new perspectives
Right.
and constantly striving to learn and grow.
And, it's not just about gathering knowledge. Proverbs 8.22:31
Okay.
takes us way back to creation,
Wow.
shows us that wisdom was there from the beginning
Oh, wow.
with God.
It wasn't an afterthought. Wisdom was woven into the very fabric
Wow.
of the universe.
It's like a fundamental principle
Right.
that governs everything.
It really is.
It's almost mind-blowing to think about
That's
this
a-
wisdom we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not like some new fad or self-help trend.
No, not at all.
It's ancient and timeless.
It is.
It's as old as creation itself.
Exactly.
Makes you realize that wisdom
Yeah.
isn't just for a select few or something.
Yeah.
It's available to everyone,
Okay,
regardless of their background or their beliefs.
That's right.
It's a universal truth that
That's right.
transcends time and culture.
It really does.
Okay,
Right.
so let's dive into Proverbs 9,
Okay.
where things get even more intriguing.
All right.
This chapter introduces us to two contrasting characters,
Okay.
wisdom and folly,
Right.
and they're both hosting feasts.
It's like a fork in the road, isn't it?
It is.
We have a choice to make.
Yeah.
Do we accept wisdom's invitation to a feast of nourishing food and drink?
Right.
Or do we go for folly's tempting spread?
So what's on the menu at these feasts?
That's a good question.
What makes them so different?
Well, wisdom's feast represents true satisfaction.
Okay.
It's the kind of meal
Yeah.
that leaves you feeling fulfilled and nourished.
Right.
Think of it like a home-cooked meal,
Oh, okay.
made with love and care,
Yeah.
using the finest ingredients. It's wholesome and satisfying,
Okay.
and it gives you the strength and energy you need
Yeah.
to thrive.
Whereas Folly's Feast
Yeah.
is more like
More like junk food.
junk food, right?
Yeah.
It might look appealing at first,
Right.
but it's full of empty calories.
Right.
And it leaves you feeling unsatisfied
Exactly.
and
right.
wanting more.
It's all about instant gratification.
Yeah.
It's that sugary drink that gives you a quick burst of energy,
Right.
but ultimately leaves you
Yeah.
sluggish and drained.
And you know that imagery of a feast? It really resonates with me because in our world,
Yeah.
we're constantly bombarded with these messages
Right.
telling us to consume, consume, consume.
I know.
Whether it's material possessions or entertainment or
Nice.
even information,
Yeah.
there's always something vying for our attention,
That's a great point.
right?
And it's up to us
Yeah.
to be discerning,
Okay.
to recognize the difference
Yeah.
between true nourishment
Right.
and empty calories.
To choose the feast that will truly satisfy
Right.
our deepest hunger.
That's right.
And Proverbs 9.0
Right.
points us back to the foundation of it all.
Of it all.
It says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding."
This verse brings us full circle, doesn't it?
It does.
We started by talking about the importance of fearing God.
Yeah.
And now we see it's not just the beginning,
Right.
but the very foundation of understanding.
It's like the cornerstone
Yeah.
of our house of wisdom. It's the
Yeah.
bedrock upon which everything else is built.
Exactly.
Without that foundation
Right.
of reverence for God.
Yeah.
of recognizing a higher authority, our pursuit of wisdom
Yeah.
will always be incomplete.
I agree.
So if fearing the Lord is the starting point,
Okay.
how do we actually build that house of wisdom
Right.
in our lives?
That's a great question.
What are the building blocks?
Yeah.
What are the essential elements we need to focus on?
Well, Proverbs 9 gives us a few clues.
Okay.
Wisdom built her house, meaning she's proactive
Okay.
and intentional.
Right.
She doesn't just wait for wisdom to come to her.
Right.
She seeks it out
Yeah.
and creates a space for it to thrive.
I love that image.
Yeah.
So it's not just about passively absorbing information,
Sure.
but about actively
Yeah.
cultivating wisdom in our lives.
Precisely.
And notice that wisdom hews out 7 pillars. That speaks to the idea of a
Yeah.
solid foundation.
Exactly.
A structure that can withstand
Okay.
the storms of life.
The storms of life.
So what are those pillars?
Right.
What are those foundational values or principles that can help us build a life of wisdom?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And I think the specific pillars might look different
Right.
for each person.
Yeah.
But there are some universal principles
Okay.
that apply to all of us,
Like what?
like humility,
Okay.
integrity,
Okay.
compassion,
Okay.
and perseverance.
Gotcha.
These are the qualities
Right.
that form the bedrock
Yeah.
of a wise and meaningful life.
It makes me think of that quote by C.S. Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less.
I love that.
It's about shifting our focus
Yeah.
from ourselves to something bigger.
Absolutely.
Right.
And integrity is about living in alignment with our values. Even when it's difficult,
Right.
it's about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Even when no one is watching.
Exactly.
Compassion is about recognizing the humanity in others
Yes.
and extending grace and kindness even to those who are different from us.
Okay.
And perseverance is about staying the course,
Yeah.
even when we face
Right.
setbacks and challenges.
Those are powerful principles.
They are.
And they're not just some abstract concepts.
No.
They're qualities that we can cultivate
Right.
in our daily lives.
Absolutely.
It's about making intentional choices,
Yes.
practicing those virtues,
Mm,
and seeking out experiences that
Yeah.
will help us grow in wisdom.
I agree.
But,
Yeah.
it's not always easy to choose
Right.
the path of wisdom.
No, it's not.
There are so many temptations,
So many
distractions
Mhm.
that can lead us astray.
Yeah.
And Proverbs 9.17 paints this picture
Okay.
of one of those temptations.
Okay.
It talks about stolen waters, being sweet, and bread eaten in secret,
Right.
being pleasant.
That verse is so insightful, isn't it?
It is.
It speaks to the allure of
Ooh,
forbidden things,
Right.
the temptation to take shortcuts
Yeah.
or indulge in things we know are wrong.
Why are we so drawn to those stolen waters?
That's a good question.
Even when we know
Yeah.
they might lead to trouble.
Well, I think it's partly because
Yeah.
of our human nature.
Yeah.
We're wired to seek pleasure
Yeah.
and avoid pain.
Right.
And sometimes the path of least resistance,
Right.
the quick fix,
Mm-hmm.
the easy way out
Yeah.
seems more appealing than the hard work
Yeah.
of choosing wisdom.
It's like that saying,
Yeah.
if it seems too good to be true,
Right.
it probably is.
Exactly.
But sometimes we just can't resist the
No.
temptation. It's like we're constantly being pulled
I know.
in two different directions.
Yeah.
Toward wisdom
Uh-huh.
and toward folly.
And sometimes it feels like folly.
Folly's got a much louder voice.
The megaphone.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
It's so loud.
But the good news is
Yeah.
we're not powerless
Yeah.
in this battle.
Right.
We can choose which voice we listen to,
Okay.
which path we follow.
So what are some of those stolen waters we might be tempted by today?
Well, I think it's different for everyone,
Right.
but some common ones
Yeah.
might be
Okay.
seeking validation through social media,
Okay.
chasing after
Yeah.
instant gratification
Okay.
instead of working towards long-term goals
Mhm.
or compromising our values
Yeah.
just to fit in or get ahead.
It's so easy to get caught up in those things,
It is.
especially when we see everyone else doing.
I know. It's like,
It's like that FOMO,
yeah, FOMO,
fear of missing out.
that fear of missing out.
Right.
Exactly. And that's where discernment comes in.
Okay.
It's about taking a step back
Right.
and asking ourselves,
Mhm.
is this really nourishing my soul?
Yeah.
Is this aligning with my values?
Oh.
Or am I just trying to fill a void
Yeah.
with something that will ultimately leave me empty?
It's a challenge. Is it a challenge worth taking on?
It is.
Because ultimately, I think we all long for that. True satisfaction.
Right.
That deep sense of fulfillment that comes from living a life of wisdom.
It's interesting you mentioned longing.
Yeah.
Because Proverbs 9 describes folly as someone who sits at the door of her house on a seat by the highest places of the city, calling out to those who pass by, who go straight on their way.
Yeah.
It's like folly's always trying to lure us off the path of wisdom, promising us those quick and easy solutions to our problems.
It's tempting to take those shortcuts.
I know it is.
But as we've seen in these chapters, the path of wisdom isn't always easy.
It's not.
It requires effort, intentionality, and sometimes even sacrifice.
Sometimes sacrifice.
Right.
That's true.
But the rewards...
they're
so much greater.
They're so much greater.
When we choose wisdom, we're choosing a life of purpose, meaning, and true fulfillment.
Absolutely.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
In this deep dive into Proverbs 8 and 9.
I know. It's been great.
We've seen how wisdom is personified as this voice calling out to us, inviting us to discover its treasures.
It's beautiful.
We explored the contrast between wisdom and folly.
That's right.
And we saw how the fear of the Lord is the foundation of it all.
It is the foundation.
And through it all, we've seen how these ancient proverbs are still incredibly relevant to our lives today.
They are.
They offer this timeless wisdom that can help us navigate the complexities of modern life.
Absolutely.
And make choices that lead to true fulfillment.
I agree.
So as we wrap up, what resonated most with you?
Good question.
From these chapters?
What do we think?
What stood out as particularly insightful or challenging?
For me, it's the imagery of the two feasts.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a powerful reminder. That we have a choice to make every single day.
Every day.
You can choose the feast of wisdom, which nourishes our soul, leads to that lasting satisfaction. Or we can choose the feast of folly, which might offer temporary pleasure, but ultimately leaves us feeling empty and unfulfilled.
I love that. And for me, it's the reminder that wisdom isn't something we just stumble upon. It's something we have to actively seek out.
We do.
Cultivate and build into our lives.
That's good. Here's a final thought for you. To ponder as you continue your own journey of wisdom.
All right.
If you could sit down with wisdom like she was a person.
Oh, wow.
What would you ask her?
What a great question to reflect on.
It really challenges us.
It does.
To think about what we're truly seeking in life.
And remember, as we go about our days, to listen for that voice of wisdom calling out to us, inviting us to discover the treasures that await those who diligently seek